Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, but oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The rent's unpaid, dear, we haven't a car. But anyway, dear, we'll stay as we are. Every, even if we, even if we owe the grocer, don't we have fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. There's, there's nothing surer. The rich get rich and the poor get poorer. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we have fun? Ain't we got fun? Whew. You. We're gonna try that again. Oh man, these little bugs. Oh man, I gotta get a. Oh, I'm gonna turn the fan on. That's what I'm gonna do. Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The rent's unpaid, dear, we haven't a car. But anyway, dear, we'll stay as we are. Eve, even if we owe the grocer and we have fun. Don't we have fun? Ain't we got fun? Don't we have fun? You got to learn these old timey verb tenses. Even if we owe the grocer, don't we have fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. There's nothing surer. The rich get rich and the poor get poorer. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Oh, it's kazoo. It's time for the kazoo solo. Hey, we got fun. All right, that's my kazoo solo. I got to work on my kazoo skills. My kazoo is in the shop. You know how you can tell if your kazoo is broken if it's taken on water? Oh no, that's a canoe. Sorry. I'm not sure. Also, if your canoe is buzzing, that's a problem. I got my Pavarotti Schmata for the bugs. He had it for his sweat. I have it for the gnats. There was a woman. I guess we could say girl because we were 17. There was a maybe she was 18. There was a girl in my dorm freshman year who was in an a cappella group, and she could do the trumpet solos, with her mouth. She could just pretend she was very good at pretending she was playing the trumpet just by going so she would take the solos and it was really great. I don't remember her name. I think maybe her name was Kat. I got to ask around. I think her name might have been Kat. All right. Hey, everybody. Good evening. I am Ethan Hirschenfeld, I believe. I believe it is the 25th. It's Tuesday, the 25th of June. And you can see, I guess we had the solstice. Yeah, this is a little bit of, if you want to learn about astronomy or astrology, you've come to the right place. As you know, if you've been watching this show regularly, and I know you have, tonight is night something like 350 of the show in a row. Um, the show happens every night, and we had a solstice the other day, so we had the longest. I guess we had the longest day of the year. Nevertheless, it still continues to get well. It still continues to stay light later. Now you might ask yourself, how is that possible? If we already had the longest day of the year, how can it be getting, how can it be staying light even later? Well, it's because there's two sides to every day. There's the morning and there's the evening. There's the waking and the going to sleep. So, na 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 na. So what would that mean? Oh, that means sunrise is happening later. That's what I'm saying. Oh, in garden speak, we're now in short days. So that means the days are getting shorter. Interesting. The ersatz kazoo is more pleasant than the real kazoo. I hear you, Astral Shoals. I know what you mean. That's not a good kazoo either. But I like the word ersatz. Ersatz. It's like fake. But I want to see what the ersatz translation. Made or used as a substitute, an inferior one. Yeah, so something that's an inferior version of something else. A Satz in German is a sentence. A Satz is a sentence. What's the meaning of Satz? It's a sentence, like like a subject and a verb, or a movement in a musical piece is a Satz. A Satz, a setting. That's the relationship to English. It's like a setting. Bum ba dum bum bum ba da. And ersatz, etymology. Replacement, ersatz. Late 19th century. Bum ba dum bum bum ba dum bum. So putting it in something else's place. Oh, Zots were candies. Interesting. I remember dots. I didn't know Zots were also candies. Da 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 da. Ba ba da da da. This is another good. It's a song about living on a budget but having fun nevertheless. But it's way before the Depression. So of course, poverty and um, tightening of the belt predates the Depression. But to me, it really sounded like a Depression era song. But it's way before. It's 1921. Ain't We Got Fun? The lyrics by Raymond Egan and Gus Kahn. Gus Kahn, we've seen a lot of songs by him earlier in the show. And the music is by Richard Whiting or Whiting. Ain't We Got Fun was first performed in 1920. It was published in 1921, but it was first performed in 1920 in the Fanchon and Marco Review, Satires of 1920. Fanchon. We had a cousin named Fanchon. So the Fanchon and Marco Review Satires. So Fanchon and Marco produced the review called Satires in 1920. And then the song moved to vaudeville. Its jaunty response to poverty and its promise of fun have become symbolic of the Roaring Twenties, and it appears in some of the major literature of the decade, including The Great Gatsby by Fitzgerald and Dorothy Parker's award-winning story of 1929, Big Blonde. The song also contains variations on the phrase, the rich get rich and the poor get poorer, substituting children for poorer. The rich get rich and the poor get children. I guess that's what the substitution would have been. Substituting children for poorer. The rich get rich and the poor get children. I don't know why that was the substitution, but okay. Ain't We Got Fun follows the structure of a foxtrot. Interesting. Didn't know that. Describes it. The Tin Pan Alley Song Encyclopedia describes that song in its roaring, as a Roaring Twenties favorite, and praises its vibrancy, zesty music, and comic lyrics. Oh, interesting. This is what I was talking about, how you got to learn those old-timey verbs. Is that right, Mary? Prohibition started in 20? I would have thought it started in 19, that amendment, whatever amendment that was. So here's what Philip Furia says about the lyrics. Not only does Khan use abrupt, colloquial, even ungrammatical phrases, he abandons syntax for the telegraphic connections of conversation. Truncated phrases like not much money are the verbal equivalent of syncopated musical fragments. All right, nice. Um, Ain't we got fun? Hey, hey, everybody. Oh, the 18th Amendment. I feel like I just inhaled one of those gnats. George Orwell highlights the lyrics of Ain't We Got Fun as an example of working class unrest. All through the war and for a little time afterwards, there had been high wages and abundant employment. Now things were returning to something worse than normal, and naturally the working class resisted. This is George Orwell on this song after World War One. The men who had fought had been lured into the army by gaudy promises, and they were coming home to a world where there were no jobs and not even any houses. Moreover, they had been at war and were coming home with a soldier's attitude to life, which is fundamentally, in spite of discipline, a lawless attitude. There was a turbulent feeling in the air. Okay, there's a whole historical and sociological take on this song. It was such an important song. I didn't know that. The sheet music published in 1921 by Jerome Remick and Co. leaves the chorus out completely. Here's a version. It said, "They won't smash up our pierce arrow. We ain't got none. They've cut my wages, but my income tax will be so much smaller when I'm paid off. I'll be laid off. Ain't we got fun?" So there were some real working class protest lyrics attached to the song, and then they were left out of the published versions. Ain't we got fun? Da, na, 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 na. Wow. Okay, this song is everywhere. Tons of movies, tons of people sang it and recorded it. Okay, cool. Very nice. Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The rent's unpaid, dear, we haven't a car. But anyway, dear, we'll stay as we are. Even if we owe the grocer, don't we have fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. There's nothing surer, the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? All right, very cool. I had no idea that vast history. There's lots of writing on the song, including George Orwell. Very cool. All right, let me talk about some of the things I want to talk about. You know, when I got to college, I had a roommate who was from Virginia, and I grew up in the Bronx, and I didn't really have a New York accent as far as I knew. But the way I just said, some of the things I want to talk about, it came out a little bit like talk. Let's talk. You know, Joan Rivers made that her catchphrase, like, "Can we talk?" I think that was her thing. Can we talk? And she had that real W in talk. But my roommate, John, in college, he was one of my suite mates freshman year. He was intrigued by the way I said drawer, like a chest of drawers. Like, let me put that, I'm going to just put my t-shirts in the drawer before we go to the cafeteria. Drawer. I don't know what it was about it. I think because there's a kind of there's a phantom G that appears. Instead of it being a D, it's like drawer. It's a D, but you can turn it into a G in some regions. Drawer. Drawer. I don't know. It's a weird word. I'd like to see an analysis by a linguist about that word. Oh, that reminds me. I had another roommate who's still a good friend of mine, um, who pointed out this was the test. This was the test in his linguistics class. So he was kind of amused by this, which is that where he was from, which was Maryland, these three words are pronounced identically. They're all pronounced Mary, Mary, like Merry Christmas, Mary from Chicago, and um, will you marry? Will you marry me? Will you marry me? It'll be Mary. But he said to me, you're from New York. He didn't even preface it. He just said, say these three words. So I said, if you're from New York, all three of these sound different. It's Mary, Mary, marry. That's a very New York sound. Marry. Anyhow, that was fun. I never took a linguistics class, but I remembered that from my friend's class. La 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 la. Ain't we got fun? Syntax, yes. It is to be abandoned after a little bit of wine. Oh man, now I have something buzzing in my ear. Not tinnitus, but a mosquito. Yes, Blue Lady. I thought that was interesting also. I'm sure there are many examples like this, but that's the one that he brought home from class. Mary, Mary, Mary. Or Mary, 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 if you're from Maryland. Or Maryland. Maryland, I guess they say. All right, here's some topics I wanted to cover. We have some very important stuff to go over today. First of all, before I say any of that, I think what I'm going to do, boy, oh boy, oh, I forgot to turn the fan on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take another news vacation, which I did last year. I've gotten kind of deeply addicted to a few left-wing podcasters or YouTubers, among them David Feldman, uh, um, David Pacman, who I really enjoy, the Meiselas brothers, and this Brian Tyler Cohen. Just watching way too much of that stuff. The problem with it is you feel the self-righteous, the red meat quality. I'm vegan, so that's a bad example, but you feel that very chewy. It's like chewing on some delicious kale, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It's definitely empty calories. You're not learning anything. You're just getting your engine of self-righteousness um, revving high in a high gear, and it's not helpful. So I'm going to take a break from it. I'm not sure I can go cold turkey because I find it very entertaining, but it ain't helping. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm donating. Um, we're gonna do a fundraiser for MVP, Movement Voter Project. We're looking at a few comedians to come on a big Zoom show in September. We were looking at mid-September for the date for a Thursday night Zoom, probably 7 p.m. Eastern, to try to raise a bundle for MVP to help defeat uh, Rick Scott and Ted Cruz. Obviously, the White House is important also, but we're looking at those, focusing some attention on those two heinous senators. Yeah, Richard, yeah, Dawn. We're all subscribed to them and all addicted. Oh, basil to keep away the mosquitoes. I'm going to write that down. That's a good idea. I'm going to put a basil plant right out here on the table. Thank you for that tip. Ain't we got fun? La 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 la. Hey, we got fun. Hello, Sanguine Sophrosine. That's a great screen name. Wow. So I played you yesterday. I was working on a jingle. It was uh, they come from miles around to this outer Cape Town, Truro Farmers Market, the freshest food ever found. It comes straight out of the ground, Truro Farmers Market. Okay, but then a B section. Da da dee da 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 dee da da. Need some lyrics. Da da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da da. Oh, G7. Da da dee da 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 ba da 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 da. So the B section is da da dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 ba da 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 da. Anyway, that was fun. I spent a little time trying to figure out that little B section. Okay, it's been 6 months of me playing the ukulele and looking at all these old-timey songs and all these chord progressions, and that's obviously very rudimentary and very simple, but it's a jingle, and I'm very happy to have come up with something. Oh yeah, it does have a little Alice's Restaurant echo in it. You can get anything you want in Alice's Restaurant. You know, the Alice of Alice's Restaurant, I might have told you this on the show, but she lives up here in Provincetown. So I've spoken to her or emailed with her in 2020. So the suggestion is rub basil on yourself to avoid you smell like spaghetti. The other way to smell like spaghetti is if you rub a wheel of Parmesan cheese on you. That'll do it. This T-shirt came from a place called Brooklyn Denim. Frank is the owner, and it's a very nice, soft, really soft T-shirt. The collar's gotten a little fakaked. It's a little bit old, but it's a really soft, nice T-shirt. But it was in there. It was stacked among some T-shirts. It's a little musty. It's clean but musty. There's a distinction. Ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Time to move on to J.S. Bach. Oh, after writing a jingle? Yeah. Da, 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 da. I still haven't discussed anything I want to talk about today. Okay, the news vacation, that's one thing. Okay, now 3 more topics in quick succession. Number 1, wash mouth out. Oh, wash mouth out. I wanted to point out that when parents used to say, oh, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap, this is an example of perhaps the most primitive parenting thinking in existence. This is a parent who has mistaken this is metaphorical language that's then taken into the literal because the phrase dirty language, that's dirty language. Dirty language isn't literally dirty. Dirty is just a figurative way of describing profanity. So if a kid says something profane, and then the very dim-witted parent would say, oh, that's dirty. Therefore, the way to deal with something dirty is using soap. Therefore, I will threaten or carry out this torture on my child because I'm such a dolt. I'm not an adult. I'm adult. So if there are any parents out there still using that trick or that phrase or talking about cleaning anyone's mouth out, just be aware. You're adult. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, the breakfast scene in movies or in TV shows. A lot of times the director or the writer, the screenwriter will try to establish the rhythm and tone and sort of culture of a family by showing them at breakfast, either in the credit sequence or in the opening scene of the film. Let's see them getting breakfast. And frequently they're trying to hit you over the head with the idea that the family is very busy and the dad is running off to work and the mom is running off to work while also handling this and that. And the kids are scurrying around, shoving a little bit of cereal in their face while doing their homework and running to the. There's a lot of times you see that perfunctory breakfast, that annoying breakfast scene in a movie or a TV show. And when I see that, if I'm in a movie theater or sitting at my screen, I kind of want to scream and tell them, you got to cut that. Start the show, start the movie after the family breakfast. We don't care about the breakfast. We're not impressed by how busy they are or the banter, the breakfast banter. It's just dull. Come on, directors, you can up your game. It's like we don't need a chase scene or a gunfight at the end, and we don't need a breakfast scene at the beginning. Okay? In breakfast scenes, I get upset when they order breakfast and never eat it. Oh, that's another thing, obviously, in movies. Yeah, a lot of times, if there's food involved in the scene, they take these fake little movie bites. That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna rub basil in my beard and see if that helps with the bugs. The worst culprit of this breakfast scene mishigas that I'm describing is the show Shameless, which I never watched because I find Macy, yes, a very accomplished actor, but I find him very annoying and hard to take. But that's just it's not I'm not impugning his acting ability. He's a fine actor. I saw him on stage do something really great once, but I just find him hard to take. I loved him in Fargo, but that was the last time. But that opening scene, it's just like one of those busy breakfast scenes. Let's show you how busy and how chaotic the family is at breakfast. And I think the director does it all maybe without a cut, so it's a highly choreographed, impressive um, feat to get all those moves and dialogue and uh, locations and everything else in one shot. Anyhow, okay, breakfast scene. Okay, finally, the final thing I wanted to discuss tonight, metaphor. So I posted I can hear Hildy. I don't know if you can hear her, but she has a kind of a baritone bark. I posted today on TikTok. We're doing an experiment. We're doing one a day this week instead of just three a week. We're doing, instead of every other day, we're doing every day. So today I went out in the woods and I shot, you can see it, it's on YouTube, it's on my TikTok, just a branch that had fallen, a pine branch that had fallen and was resting. It had fallen, but didn't hit the ground. It landed on a living maple tree branch. So there's a maple tree, a living maple tree supporting a fallen, dead pine tree branch. And I just shot it and I said, it's a beautiful metaphor. I don't know what it's a metaphor for, but it's a nice metaphor. That was basically the video. And I meant to look up. There was a word, I think, as an English major that they taught us. The word is not antecedent, but there's a thing in the structure of a metaphor. There's the thing, and then the thing that the thing stands for. And those two different elements have different names. I can't remember what they are. I'm going to look them up. I meant to before the show. Why don't I look it up right now? I have Google right in front of me. Okay. Metaphor structure. Ba-da-da-da. Oh my God. I did not know that. A metaphor has two parts, the tenor and the vehicle. In the metaphor, life is a roller coaster, life is the tenor. Oh my God. So roller coaster is the vehicle. So in this case, the dead pine branch is the vehicle, but I don't know what the tenor is. Wow, I did not know that. A tenor and a vehicle. That sounds like a singer driving a car. Justine is an open book. The tenor is the literal thing. So Justine is the tenor. The vehicle is the book. Justine is an open book. All right, that's cool. That's good to know. We learned something. Wah, 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 wah. Na, 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 na. Oh, Dawn, you reactivated your TikTok. Please subscribe to mine or whatever. Follow me. I never metaphor I didn't like. Heh, heh, heh. That's acceptable wordplay. Yes, sometimes I write things down. I met a 4 once. It was twice as nice as a 2. That's a good one. We got some good metaphor. Larry was a fine actor. Did I mention a Larry? I can't remember. All right. Okay, that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, now I learned something. Oh, this is what I wanted to say, and then we'll wrap it up. When I was a kid, I had this idea. I don't know what it meant. I still don't know what it means. But I remember having this idea when I was about 11 years old, which was, it was someone saying, it was on the subject of figurative language, or sort of, this is more of an analogy. I imagined a teacher saying, it, by way of explaining a complicated passage in a book, I imagined the teacher saying, well, it would be like going into a bar for the first time and ordering the regular. I imagine that scenario, a teacher saying to me, it would be like going into a restaurant for the very first time and ordering the regular. So, in keeping with this nomenclature, I guess my little scenario is sort of like the vehicle. I have the vehicle. The vehicle is that scenario of someone saying they're in a place for the first time. Sit down at a bar you've never been to before and say, "Give me the regular." So I have the vehicle, but I don't have the tenor because I don't know what that means or what it stands for. Maybe you have some ideas. All right. I had another old timey song. I'm going to save it for tomorrow. I'll give you a hint. Dun, dun, dun. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, da, da. Ba, ba, da, 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 da. It's more than a hint. That's the whole melody. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, da, 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 da. Ba, ba, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. That has the simplest but a really nice B section, that song. Lots of bugs. I'll be here at 9 always, every night at 9 always. When the things you plan need a helping hand, I will understand always, always. Days may not be fair always, that's when I'll be there always. I mean, always. Oh, that was right. Not just for an hour, not just for a day. I'll be here at 9 always, always. Ain't she sweet? Da 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 ba ba da ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba ba. All right. Always glad to have you all here. Thank you for tuning in. I am Ethan Hirschenfeld. This is the No Show for June 25th. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I'll see you back here tomorrow night, and maybe I'll even on screen. I will rub the basil in my beard, and see how that works out with the little bugs. Wah, 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 ba-da-ba-ba-da-da. Yeah, da 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 bum bum bum. Oh, Berlin Alexanderplatz. Oh, cool. I'd like to watch that. I think it's is that the same guy who wrote Little Man, What Now? Hans Fallada? Is that Hans Fallada? I'm gonna look it up. Okay, everybody, thanks so much. Good night.